So, hi team. Now we are going to discuss about Gatling Assertions. Okay. You know that we write Gatling simulations, or you can say Gatling load test in a form of JavaScript, or you can say some people use Scala code for writing Gatling scripts, right? So, like if we are writing a script, right? So in the script itself, we can write assertions for Gatling. Like if you guys have worked with TestNG or Selenium or any other tool, right? Now in Selenium, what we used to do is we used to do some steps, right? Like driver.get open this page, right? And driver.click on driver.enter username like that, and then enter password. Then you click on login button, right? And then we will just validate title of the home page or any element validate we are successfully logged in, and we just validate presence of any home page element, right? And we used to use assert libraries like assert dot equals get title, right? Or our soft assertion. So these are the assertions in TestNG which will make your test case either pass or fail. Similarly, in Gatling, we have assertions for the same. Okay. Now in load test, so in functional test cases, we can simply write like we enter username and password, click on login button. We should be able to log into home page, right? But in load test, these things doesn't matter much, right? Load test, we see the performance of the application, or you can say we see the performance of system under test, right? How our system is behaving, how much time is taking to respond to a request. So in load test, we will be hitting the same API for multiple users at the same time. So these are the functional test cases. So you can say these are load test cases. So just like functional test cases assertions, we have load test case assertion as well. Okay. Now I will give you few examples of assertions, load test assertions. So you can say like max response time. So in a particular scenario, if you can say if we are hitting like 100 RPS for you can say 1 minute, right? In this particular duration, our max response time should be for any API should be less than 1 second. Okay. Now this is a assertion for Gatling load test. Max response time should be less than 1 second, or we can say if we are hitting 100 requests per second for 1 minute, so it will be hitting total in total 6,000 requests, right? It will be sending 100 requests per second for 60 seconds. So in total, it will be sending 6,000 requests to server. Now, assertions can be, these are few examples of assertions. Load test assertions can be one of the following, right? Like, or you can have multiple assertions. Like our max response time should be less than 1 second, or you can say uh, mean response time should be less than 500 milliseconds. Okay. And similarly, you can have uh, more assertion like uh, this is literal response time, right? We can have multiple parameters which can be validated, like response time. So above mentioned assertions are related to response time. Now you can say we have failed request check, right? Like you can say a percentage of failed request can be acceptable. Like if you are hitting 6,000 requests to a load test, and if you are 1%, less than 1% requests are failing, right? So we can say this is acceptable. And if it's greater than 1%, then we should mark load test job as load test job as failed. Okay. So this is related to failed request. Similarly, we can have successful request, total request, successful request. If successful request is successful request count is less than 95%, we should fail the load test job. And if it's greater than 95%, we should mark it as a pass, right? So these are like various type of searching, like response time, failed request count, or successful request count. So let's write these searching in Gatling Java code. So in previous sessions, we have created one Gatling load test project in Java using Maven. So we have one simulation file here. I hope I hope you guys remember the simulation file. In this simulation file, we are just hitting one HTTP point, right? And till now, we have discussed about this the particular code, like this is for scenario creation, and this is for your like virtual injection of users. Okay, like it will be sending worst load to a server. Now this method used to define your load. Now, and this is the protocols to define protocol, like you will be using this base URL, and these are the common headers, right? Now here you need to put a search engine. If you want to write a search engine for this particular simulation, so you can write in this way. Okay, in this search engine method, you can pass a number of searches here. You can write global. Like first, we will try to cover response time. You can see these sessions, right? Is giving you all requests. So in this particular method, you can put a session related to all requests. Okay, and below is response time. So in this response time method, is you can put multiple sessions related to response time, like mean response time, max response time, minimum response time, right? And next is successful request. Successful request means if you are sending 100 requests to your load uh, test, let's suppose if you are sending 100 requests in a load test, right, to your application, and how many requests got successful response. And it depends on your application, what is your SLA and SLO. And you can say like if your successful request count is less than 99%, right, then we should mark this load test job as fail. Similarly, failed request. I think you can use one of them, not to use both of them because both are interrelated. Like either you can put successful request count should be less than greater than 99%, or you can say failed request count should be less than equal to 1%, like that. Cool. So these are interrelated. You can use one one of them, right? I don't think there's an it makes sense if you use both successful request or failed request. Okay. And yeah, request per account, like per second, if you want to put a validation on RPS, right? And similarly, so these are like extended methods of these methods. So let me put some assertions on response time. Okay, like I can type response time here. So we can see mean response time should be less than. So what this assertion is doing is is assertion for validating below, like mean response time is less than 500 milliseconds. Cool. So I can put 500 here. So it's accepting argument is millisecond. Cool. So now this assertion is for validating that you are once your load simulation is done and simulation got executed and data is collected, right? And it will be validating that for all your requests, right? Uh, your mean response time should be less than 500 millisecond. If this is a passing, so yeah, you can say load test job will be marked as a pass. And if your mean response time is greater than 500 millisecond, then your uh, load test job will be marked as failed. Okay. Now this is example of one assertion, but you can put more assertions, like you can put it as commas better. Now let's try something else. Like I can use global here only. Global. The response side we already covered, right? Let's try to cover field request percent. You can say percent less than equal to 1.0. It will accept in doubles. Okay. So now let me copy this code and paste it here. So this assertion is for validating mean response time, and now this assertion is to validating total fail requests should be less than 1%. Okay. Let's suppose if we are sending you can say if we are sending 100 requests in your load simulation, right? Then if you got 99 requests pass and one request failed due to any reason. Now in this particular failed reason can be anything. It can be 400 series or 500 series, like that. So this will mark your job as success, job success, okay? Because we put fail count should be less than or equal to 1%. Now similarly, if we are sending 10,000 requests, okay, in your load simulation, and so 1% of 10,000 is 100, right? So if you have a fail request count less than equal to 100, right? Fail request count. So your job will be considered as pass. Okay. But if you got a 101 fail request count, then it will mark as fail. Okay. So these are the searches, like this is a search is that response time. This is for fail count. Similarly, if you want to put a search for successful request count, but it doesn't make sense, right? You should use either fail request, or like if I don't want to use a fail request, I can just write like successful request percentage should be greater than equal to 99.0%. So what it's saying is either we can use this one or we should use this one. Okay. We can write both as well, but I don't think there's any benefit of writing both. This actually is saying our fail request percentage count should be less than 1% or equal to 1%. And on the other side, this is talking about successful request. It should be greater than or equal to 99%. Okay. Any one of like these will be fine. Either go with the successful request or failed request. So let me comment this particular one. I think this is enough for us. So now in this load test, we are having two assertions. Okay. Like these assertions will be performed once whole simulation is done. Like in this particular simulation uh, file, we are sending 10 requests at each second for 10 seconds, right? So total count will be 100. Okay. Now once we got response for all the 100 requests to server, right? And Gatling will then perform these assertions. And based on these assertions, it will pass fail your Gatling job. Cool. Now to see the results, like how these assertions are impacting our output, we can try running this particular simulation file. And you guys know that how to execute this simulation. We can run manual Gatling test command. You can see it will take few more seconds. Guys, see our job is done. So let's see the summary report here. Total request count is 100. and minimum response time is 670 and max response time is 1696. Okay, and mean response time is 738. Cool. Now you can see that our job is marked as a failed. Okay, there's a reason. You can find these assertions. Okay, these are the assertions. First search is mean of response time is less than 500 milliseconds. This assertion is failing because our actual mean response time is 730 milliseconds. Okay, that's why this job is marked as failed. Now we have one more assertion. Percentage of failed request is less than or equal to 1%. This assertion got passed because our we have zero request which got failed. Okay. Now in this way, you can put assertions. If any of the assertions fail, then it will mark your Jenkins, your Gatling job as failed. If your all assertions got passed, then it will be marked your Gatling job passed. Now similarly, like if you talk about this global response time, right? This is for mean. Similarly, you can write global response time max. Okay, max time. Max time is less than equal to, like I can say our max response time should be 1 second, should be less than equal to 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so in this way you can write your assertion here. Now what are the benefits of let me I think so this is your console log summary, but if you want to see HTML report as well, just open this link, and in this you will see uh, your job is marked as failed. You can see assertions here. Like we have two assertions in our Gatling simulation. First is mean of response time is less than 500 milliseconds. It got failed, right? You can see it's saying red. Okay. And the percentage of failed events is less than equal to 1. Failed event percent count should be less than 1%, right? It got passed because we have zero request with the like fail status. Okay. So similarly, you can write n number of sessions here in your simulation file. Now, what is the benefit of putting? You can understand one thing here. Benefits of writing assertions in a simulation file. Okay. So based on assertion, your job can be marked as pass or fail. Okay. Now with this approach, you can create some Jenkins job to load test, right? And based on these assertions, this Jenkins job can be marked as pass or fail. Similarly, if you are able to create your Jenkins job or any CI/CD job to load test based on these assertions, you can pass your Jenkins job, pass or fail. So if we are able to do this stuff, then it can be part of your CI/CD as well, right? So if you're able to load test your application and perform assertions like SLO, but your mean response time and failure rate, right? If you can perform these assertions in a code only, then this job can be part of your CD pipeline. Okay. So you can say in CD pipeline, you can build your application code, right? And like you perform Selenium test cases or API test cases, right? Once you build your application code, you deploy your app code on local, and then you run some test cases like API test cases, or you can say functional test cases, right? Functional test cases cover all test cases like API test cases, UI test cases, Selenium or APM test cases, right? Then you can deploy your application. Till now, apply your app to production, right? Till now, we were just only testing functional test cases as a part of CID pipeline, right? But if we are able to create a Jenkins job for getting load test, it can be added in this test stage as well. Now you can perform a load test as a part of your CD pipeline. Okay, if your like functional test case job is passing or low test case job is passing, then you can deploy your application to production. If your low test job is failing, then you can mark it as a fail. Then you need to debug the issue why your load test is failing. Maybe there is some memory leakage in your application, or system is not performing well. Okay, or maybe your infra like is having an implication of auto scaling, right? Like if we are using Kubernetes, right? In that we have defined like if we get more traffic, our infra should auto scale, right? So you can make sure that once you like sending traffic to your service, right? And if it requires more pods to be upright, whether your infra is going to auto scale or not, right? Once your traffic is down, is it going to you can say downscale or not, right? So these are the benefits of putting assertions in your simulation file. And yeah, so I think these are good benefits of any load test tool, which can be you can say you write your simulation file as a code. Okay. So in this particular simulation file, you can write your search engine in this particular way. Okay, just like protocol, you can. Uh, so this is your right format. This is a setup method. First, it will execute complete your simulation file, like how many requests it needs to be set to send to your server. Once it got a response for all the API requests, then it will Gatling will prepare some metrics like response time, mean response time, max response time, minimum response time, right? Fail request count. Then it will process your assertion. And based on the assertions, if your assertion got passed, it will mark your job as pass. If any of the assertion got failed, it will mark your Gatling job as failed. Okay. So yeah, that's all about assertions and Gatling, and you guys can explore about these assertions. You can just try to type global, uh, okay, and go through these auto associations. Okay, like there are a number of assertions. Okay, so I just show you like demo for 2 to 3. Like these are majorly used. If you have idea about what is SLO, in SLO we have such requirements like our mean response time should be less than uh, 50 to 80 milliseconds. Yeah, so this is like we are using Gatling servers to test this particular simulation. But if you are working in some IT company, you guys know that your application is deployed in a good infra, right? And if you have good servers, then their response time will be like 20, 30, 40 milliseconds, not like 500 milliseconds or something, right? Yeah, so you guys can explore with your infra, in-house infra. Okay, so let me stop this. Good. So guys, yeah, please explore these assertions, and if you guys have any question, you can put it in the comments box here. Apart from these assertions, let me tell you one more thing. These assertions are performed like after simulation. Once your all APIs are processed and you got the response from your server, right? But they are like in this particular scenario, we are calling HTTP method, right, to perform get operation. But if you want to perform some check here, like you want to make sure that you're hitting some API, its response code should be 200. So you can write in this way, check status HTTP status. I forgot the text. Status should be is 200. Okay. If you know that your API response code should be 200 for this particular endpoint, you can put this session as well. Okay. If this particular endpoint is giving some other HTTP code, it will mark your API endpoint as a failed. Okay. So this is you can say scenario level assertion, and these assertions are a simulation level. Okay. So guys, please have a look on these assertions. Try to use this search engine in a simulation file and see the difference. What is the like you can say credibility of these mean time is next time. Okay. These matters a lot in load simulation. Okay. So that's all about the search engine. And if you guys have any questions, please Let us know.